Welcome back to In Ohio Country Today, and with me I have Joe Lochtefeld with Diversified Pond Supplies. And we're here, actually out here at a channel in Grand Lake, St. Mary's, but we want to talk about, not necessarily about the lake today, we want to talk about a product that's very innovative that you're offering to help with the issues in the shallow water and things that you can help in the channels here at Grand Lake or people with ponds and so on and so forth.
Sure. Well, bubble tubing is what it's called, and it's a linear diffuser tubing is probably the best way to describe it. It's got an airline that is actually attached to a ballast that'll allow it to sit on the bottom of the channel. So you pretty much run it down the center of the channel like you would the center line on a street. And this airline has little pinholes every ½ inch along both sides of the tubing, and it actually runs little air bubbles out, and it brings the water from the bottom to the surface and then out towards both shorelines and then back down again. So it's very good when it comes to a shallow water aeration, which is very challenging, where most aeration systems like you see in your ponds typically have a tendency to be like 8 feet of water, and beneath that it gets a little bit challenged and they lose the effectiveness, where this is effective all the way down to 2 feet of water. So it's really ideal for Grand Lake St. Mary's. You know, we got some water challenges here. This allows us to get the aeration where it needs, and oxygen and an aerobic environment is really what drives everything in the ecosystem out there. So whether it's just little microbials or whether it's snails or whether it's frogs or fish, you got to have the good water quality, and air drives it. So that's the main thing behind the bubble tubing.
Well, there's been many people have tried many things, and for their water quality. They'll add chemicals, they add herbicides, they add this and that to the water. This is all done very naturally.
Yeah, it's very non-intrusive by all means. There's no electric that's in the water. The only thing that's in the water is the tubing and the air. So it's ideal to put the water in kind of an ecological balance, where normally you have a tendency to want to treat it quickly with an algicide or an herbicide, which you can't do because it's state water here. But even at that, you want to get the aerobic environment first, and then you can let the natural bacteria take care of it on its own without having to add chemicals or any kind of algicides or herbicides.
Well, you had made the comment about it being not intrusive. The size of this tube is kind of amazing to me.
Yeah, it's less than 2 inches tall. We got a ballast on the bottom. It's about 7/8 of an inch, and then a ½ inch tube on the top. So it's less than 2 inches on the bottom of your channel. So in the fall, when the water really is dropping, and very much like it is today, actually, you got an issue where you're concerned about anything that's in the water if you're going to hit it with boat props or anything like that. Well, if you're going to be hitting the bubble tubing, you're hitting everything else that's in the lake too, because 2 inches is not much to be concerned with when it comes to aeration.
You talk about aeration and the benefits of the water and what you're trying to accomplish here. In a very simple term, what is this aeration accomplishing? What's it doing for the bottom of the water?
Well, one, it certainly gives the oxygen level down on the bottom where you really want it, and that's where it's the most oxygen depleted to begin with. So everything that is going into the lake, all the organic matter, whether it's leaves or grass clippings or dead fish, you name it, all that needs to be consumed. And an aerobic environment, the oxygen-rich environment, is really what consumes it the best. It's about 20 to 30 times better than an anaerobic. So you want to get the oxygen in there so that you get rid of the muck and the sediment. So all that black sludge that you have a tendency to get between your toes, it'll take care of that. So you want to reverse all that accumulation by giving it the right environment so the nature can take care of it on its own.
We were talking about how you power the air into the tubes. I thought it was interesting where we're sitting here that the air compressor is running, powering that, and you don't even know it's here.
Yep, you can boat over it. I mean, you can't hear it. We have it in sound enclosures, and it's very, very, very quiet. My partner, Miles Strand, he actually is a sound engineer, a vibration engineer, so we made sure to keep things quiet, and we know that you want to have an aesthetically pleasing place, and you want to be able to hear what's going on too, so you can party out here on your seawall.
Right as an example, we're right here on the channel, but how can this help somebody in their farm pond?
Well, I mean, aeration has been around for a long time, and a lot of people are more familiar with it in farm ponds than they are, shallow channels such as Grand Lake St. Mary's. But whether we use, the bubble tubing or whether we use just a rubber disc diffuser, all of that is going to do the same thing. If you got a round oval pond, it's easy to put one or so in the center. If you got an L-shaped, you want to go ahead and you want to put a couple of them in different places. But if you're in shallow water and you're really dealing with a lot of algae and you're really dealing with a lot of weed, you really got to get that muck in the shallow area, and that's where the bubble tubing works good. You want to keep it all on about the same level, so if you take it kind of parallel to a shore and just run it 15 feet or 10 feet out from the shoreline, all the way around, you're in good shape. It's probably a better solution than having one out in the center where you don't have the weeds and the muck so much.
Joe, if somebody wanted to find out a little more information, where could they go?
Well, probably the easiest thing to do would be to go to our website to start with. That's www.diversifiedpondsupplies.com. And you can see all kinds of pond supplies there, whether it be garden ponds or whether it's farm ponds or the channel in this case. So we're the U.S. exclusive distributor for the bubble tubing here in the U.S. It's actually patented with a company in Canada, so we got the U.S. rights. So come to us, give us a call. We'll be glad to help out however we can.
Joe, thanks for being with us.
Certainly, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
We'll be back with more in Ohio Country Today.